Hello, uh, my name is Derek, and today I would like to address the issue of God. Uh, as this has been a very important issue in my life. A little backstory: I was born a Christian, grew up in a Christian family for most of my life. That about 22, 23 years. And I was really committed to the church. I remember I used to go to church every Sunday. I participated in the Sunday school, the youth group, and the church itself. I did a lot of church plays, a lot of songs, and all that kind of stuff. I remember I would get very angry if there's any commitment that would make me not able to go to church on Sunday. I remember being told one day that our fundi was coming to uh, repair something in the house, and I needed to be there just to make sure everything went right. And that was my dad telling me to remain home on Sunday and be with the fundi. And I remember getting very angry at that. I really liked God. I believed that God was the real reason why I was alive, why things were going well, or why things would get better in the future. I really believed it. I believe in Jesus and the resurrection. I really wanted to go to heaven. I remember praying to God just day and night, take me and take me to heaven. This world is too hard. The commitments are too many, and I don't even know whether I can make it to heaven if I continue living here. The temptations were a lot, and I felt that I needed to go to heaven immediately. I believed or had been told that as a child, if you died when you're a child, you would directly go to heaven. They wouldn't count your sins or anything like that. So I believed in that, and I really wanted to go to heaven. So I wanted to really die as a child. I didn't want to reach adulthood. I was told 12 years was the cap. I don't remember exactly who told me, but I remember hearing something like that in the church. So yeah, my doubts with religion started when I joined high school at about 14 years of age, and I took a CRE, Christian Religious Education class, and I learned something about the creation story. The religion class taught us that there are two stories of creation in the Bible, both in Genesis, and they told us there were theories. That means there were stories made up by people and that explain the creation. It is not a story, it's not a true story or a real story of exactly what happened. There was no Adam and Eve, there was no snake. It's more like a parable that explains why the fall of man, the knowledge that knowledge is what made man fall and not continue to live in that very happy state in the Garden of Eden. So I had doubts. I developed doubts about that, and at first they were not very strong. I mentally opposed those ideas, and I continued to worship and pray to God, but that the seed has been planted. There's something in the Bible that is not exactly the story of God. I believe I've not been taught anything about the Bible, anything on how the Bible came to be, but I thought God wrote the Bible. That's what was going on in my mind. So I believe the word to be very sacred because God wrote it down for us to follow. So I learned that it was written by people. God has never written a verse in the Bible, and that was very confusing for me. And it was also the first time that I met someone who did not believe in God at all. It was one of the students in my high school, and they were writing this stuff that you write at the end of high school. The book, I forget what we used to call them. Those books where you have your friends sign and write messages for you. And in one of those books, the guy writes, "My philosophy for life is God is dead." So when I saw that, my the alarms in my brain were just blaring. It's like, what the hell is this person talking about? God will instantly kill him. I thought everything uh, would go wrong with him and he would die a very serious death for disrespecting God like that. And I really believe that. But I watched the guy thrive. Uh, he even got a higher grade than me, which I thought God was helping my academics, and that's why I was performing well. But he got a higher mark than me, and I couldn't understand why. There's a saying that God blesses the sinners and non-sinners, so that's a possible explanation for it. But I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand how someone could question God to that level and disrespect God to that level and continue living. Because in church and just in the groups of people who are Christian, I think I come from a small village where everyone is a Christian, or even if they're not Christian, they believe in God to an extent. So in this circle that I was hanging out with before I joined high school, they were talking about stories of people who disrespected God and were punished heavily. I remember there's a story of the guy who made the Titanic, and he said not even God can sink it, and we all know what happened to the Titanic. And there's a story of a family who were very angry with their parents, and they brought them. The guy was angry with the mother and asking for money and all that kind of stuff. So they brought in a whole tank of milk and told the mom, "That's all the milk you breastfed me." And the mom just replied that, "May God uh, travel back with you in their car." So it happened that uh, uh, the man told them, "There's no space for God in our car. Maybe he can fit in the boot." And it is said that the family encountered an accident, and uh, there were eggs in the boot that survived, but the car was completely mangled and they all died. So there were such scary stories of people disrespecting God and get punished heavily. And for the first time, I met someone who openly disrespects God and nothing really seems to be happening to him. That didn't break my faith either. I went on continuing my faith. My faith was very strong and I was committed to it. But I remember asking a question, which would later come to become a pivotal moment for my fallout with the Christianity faith. And I remember asking my father, where did God come from? And I thought that was a simple question. I was a kid and I was interested in this stuff. I believed in God and everything. So it was a genuine question from a point of wanting to know. But I was met with a lot of hostility. He told me, "Don't ask her that question ever again." I was wondering, why shouldn't I ask that question? It's an important question because we all need to know where God came from. It stayed in the back of my mind. I didn't ask the question again. But as all this evidence was piling up as to my beliefs with God and they were not aligning, um, I started to ask this question again. This was especially in first year. In first year of uni, I got into a relationship which ended badly. Basically, I was left. So, and I didn't seem to be able to get into another relationship. I was trying my level best, but nothing seems to be working out. So I prayed to God. I need to be in another relationship. Nothing was happening. Even now, it's been like 10 years since that time, and I have not gotten into any other relationship. So uh, it felt like God was not answering my prayers anymore, and I was I was lost. I felt lost, and I felt like God had left me, and I started to question more and more. I I came across something from someone. There's some I came across someone on YouTube. I was just watching random stuff. I remember I was suicidal that time, and I was just looking for ways to. I remember I searched on YouTube how to erase everything in my brain because the breakup was really hurting me. and I wanted to forget everything about it, the entire relationship. And so, as I was researching, I researched how to erase my brain and everything, and an article came up. Not an article, a video came up, and it was this guy who says you can create your heaven on earth. And I was intrigued by it. It was like a 2 hour lecture, which I watched all of it, and I started believing in it, and I started to try out some of these things. Uh, the the lecture was mostly it was from uh, yeah it was from a doctor in medicine, but he had just gotten out of the field because he believed that science wasn't serving anymore. So the teachings were Buddhist or in Hindu in nature, such kind of mysticism that was going on. And I tried some of the stuff he was saying, the meditation, a law of attraction, and all kind of that stuff. And I found that it was working. I finally got to do something that didn't involve God, and I could see it working. So that was a surprise to me. I thought the only things or the only methods that worked were praying to God and waiting and just being part of the church and the community. So that's what happened. It worked, and it really boggled my mind. I'm like, this Hindu Buddhist stuff is working for me. I'm feeling better, and my life is improving as such. So I followed the stuff. Obviously, it didn't. It stopped working at some point, just like my prayers to my Christian God were not working anymore. And it got me thinking, got me back to my question, like, is God there really? And if he's there, where did he come from? Why does everything seem to work sometimes and not? It seems like my prayers work sometimes, sometimes they don't. It's a hit or miss, almost as if it's something random. I really don't like believe in the scientific theory of the Big Bang theory of that kind of stuff, but it started making sense why these people didn't believe in this God. And I went on to listen to some podcasts that were hosted by atheists, people who don't believe in God at all, and they started to make sense. There's this one YouTuber, especially, who is an atheist, but he has studied theology, like the whole of theology, and he really critiques the Bible, um, especially the God of the Old Testament, who uh, performs massacres of people. There is human sacrifice. There is people killing each other for King David killing one of his soldiers to get the wife. King Solomon having 700 concubines and 300 wives. Like, or the story of Cain killing Abel, or the incest between, was it Noah and I don't know very well. There's incest and all that kind of stuff. So God was promoting some kind of behavior that would be acceptable. And also women seem to be very suppressed in the Bible and all that kind of stuff. So all this stuff started building in my mind, and soon it became hard and harder for me to believe. And just one day it clicked on me, and I'm like, I don't think there's God at all. It doesn't seem like uh, God really exists, especially not in this current world and the way it's running and all the problems in it. The conclusion is that, and if God existed, where did he come from? And wherever he came from, where did that come from? And continues, if wherever that other God came from, or who the God who is the God of our God and all that kind of stuff, like, it doesn't make sense. I don't think it's possible to exactly know whether God exists, but it's a 50-50% chance. There is a very big chance that he does not exist. And if he does, then the world just doesn't make sense to me. I'll keep the video short because I don't want to make it too long. I have a lot to say about this, but maybe I'll discuss it later on. Thanks for watching.